Have you ever walked into a theater and something didn't feel quite right? Well, that's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about haunted theaters around the world on today's episode of Back to Paranormal. Well, hello and welcome back to Back to Paranormal. This is a show where we talk about paranormal stuff and spiritual stuff and all other kinds of weird stuff. And my name is Brian Mitchell, and I am here with my co-host, my beautiful co-host.
Thank you. It's Marjorie. Hi.
Hi, Marjorie.
Hello.
How are you today? You're looking especially beautiful tonight.
Hi, handsome.
Thank you.
I'm happy to be here.
I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be anywhere. So that's a good thing.
You're happy to be anywhere.
Well, especially here.
Maybe not in one of these extremely haunted theaters.
Probably not. Well, that's what we're going to be talking about today. It's kind of interesting because around the world, especially even if a theater isn't that old, you know, sometimes these theaters become haunted for certain reasons, and we'll talk a little bit about that on the show.
Yeah.
But well, we're going to boop in a few minutes, but we have to acknowledge one of our listeners, and he's actually
pretty much our number one fan.
Our number one fan. Well, we have a lot of number one fans, but this.
Yeah, but we love you all, but we have to tip our hat to
Adrian. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but you know, normally it would do a countdown before we do this boop with a drink.
He does.
And Marjorie is not particularly fond of the countdown. The final countdown. Yes.
It's when we boop, just proceed. I'm going to zip it. Zip it.
Okay, so I like the countdown because, you know, we're rearing up and, you know, we clink those glasses and stuff like that.
Ready to start the show.
And Marjorie was not really fond of it. She was like, let's just do it. But we heard from Adrian, and Adrian said...
Very, very strong feelings about this.
About the boop and the countdown. So we're bringing back the countdown.
He said it stays.
It's staying, so...
Adrian says it stays, it stays.
Yes, what is the... boop drink of tonight.
What are we drinking tonight?
Yes.
Well, you know, I was thinking, okay, we're talking about theaters, and I know when I go to the theater for, a show or a concert, I'm going to go to the bar and get a drink, whatever that may be. And I was like, well, what do people normally drink? Everybody drinks anything, okay?
Right.
And it is sweltering outside. So this is Back to Paranormal. Original.
Exclusive.
It's exclusive.
It's the exclusive drink tonight.
It is.
Yes, so nobody makes this except for us.
Well,
for you.
I'm sure I'm not that original, but I'm going to call this the Heat Advisory.
The Heat Advisory. That's the drink of
it's
of the evening.
Fresh lemon, vodka, ice, basil, and just a tiny bit of clover honey. So all the good things from summertime.
There you go. Okay, so we are gonna count down.
In a mule mug.
It's in a mule mug.
Nice frosty.
What is a mule mug? Well, you'll describe it after we boop. Here we go.
Okay.
It's not going to be
do what everybody says, including the countdown.
Okay, here we go. So 1, 2 for Adrian, 3.
Boop.
Oh, there we go. Boy, that was here we go.
Robust.
Here we go. Wow. I'm trying to think what that reminds me of. It's I can't really it's reminding me of something. I can't place it. It's because I taste the honey and I taste the lemon.
I don't taste the basil, and I put so much basil.
This is fresh basil in there too.
From our garden.
From the basil garden of Back to Paranormal.
From the Back to Paranormal gardens.
And this is we use the very finest vodka that money could buy. And it has a lemon garnish on here.
It has lots of nice ice. Very cold. A mule mug is there are these kind of bulbous copper, lined with either tin or stainless, insulated mugs with a handle. It's kind of almost like a mini Bierstein kind of thing, and it's what you would pour in a Moscow Mule in.
Oh, really?
It's what I used to drink those ginger teenies from O Ramen.
I gotcha.
And they just keep.
O Ramen is a.
O Ramen is one of our little hole in the wall favorite delicious restaurants in downtown Manhattan.
Downtown Manhattan. Yeah.
But it keeps the drink nice and cold.
It does.
And
it's
I
pretty
just
good.
should have put in more basil, but
No, I think it's perfect.
Well,
I taste
thank
I taste the basil in it.
oh, good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
Okay, heat advisory. World peace solved in a mug.
And that's it. A little citrus, a little vodka, a little sweet, and we're good.
That is refreshing, my love.
It is. It is. So, well, heat advisory. Patent that name. So, anyway.
We got some theaters to talk about. Now, we looked into this, and some of this is like just what normal things one would expect from a haunted location.
Yes.
You know, like
Right.
cold chills, shadow figures, disembodied voices.
Yes.
Things moving, etc.
Right.
But then some of it is like, whoa, like
exactly.
really some scary and some really sad.
Some very sad, yeah.
But a lot of people kind of just subscribe to the overriding thought that theaters in general would be the perfect sort of, I guess, body, if you would, for residual hauntings and residual energies, because there's just so much emotion, that goes in there. Like, I don't do this, like, ever. But, you go to a movie and it moves you and you cry a lot. Some people do that.
Yeah, I think with
I do that a lot.
you do that a lot, but I think it's more with the people who are, let's say it's a live performance.
That even makes it more intense.
And I think because these people develop relationships, and then they're going out there and they're projecting, and they're and they're doing things that are very emotional, but they're doing it over and over and over and over again. And I think part of that gets into the fabric of the theater. So I don't think it's so much the people out in the audience, unless it's somebody that's really in love with this play, or they're in love with the theater and they keep coming back, and there's so much emotion with that person.
Well, not individually, but collectively. If you think,
I think that's possible.
I'm in
too.
agreement with you, but I think that the audiences, night after night after night, and their collective, that the energies that they're sharing all together, would certainly make its imprint as well.
Yeah,
like we watched this movie with Pamela Anderson, whom I love, and it was called The Last Showgirl, and she was doing the same show since she was a teenager for 30 years, the same show, over and over and over.
Sure.
And the truth is, at the end of the movie, it's a sad movie. It's very moving, but what you really realize is that one night that lasted every night for 30 years, that was her whole life.
That's her life, yeah.
And that's what you're getting at.
Yeah, and
the performers.
Yeah, because they develop, certain performers may develop this relationship with not just the cast, but just the character they play, and the fact that if they really fall in love with doing what they do at a place that they love, I think somehow, when they pass on, that love just kind of stays, and their spirit manifests in that area, because that's the place that they love to be all their life, So
also, there's this element of the costumes and the lighting and the sets, and of course, obviously, the actors emoting
the
and
grease paint,
executing on stage, that they are facilitating some kind of transportation for the viewers in the audience, that people come in there and their spirits, they don't, die and go to heaven, but they do in some way. They get transported to some completely other place that isn't necessarily, out the street behind any door when you get home, but it's within that building.
I always say, and this is the thing. You've performed.
I'm having a sip.
You're having a sip. You performed on a stage.
I've had to, yes.
Yes, and whether it was singing or dancing, right?
And acting as well.
And acting as well.
But I'm too at stage.
Yeah.
That's too scary for me.
Oh, okay. I've done it. I've performed on stage and sang and danced, and and I made a fool of myself. But but no. But the thing is like when you go out there on stage, you're not just walking out there and just skiddly doo. You're not doing that. And when you're singing, it's not like you're
flying by the seat of your
You're going out there and you're giving it all you got.
Tons of energy,
lots of nervous energy. Go out there, you're performing, you're getting the audience kind of, applauding.
Yeah.
Hopefully, when you go out and you do your thing, there is an emotional connection. There is some sort of heightened connection between you and that audience for that moment.
Yes.
And I think that'll kind of, like I said, I think that all kind of makes the theater more apt to be haunted because of all these emotions that
it's a lot. It's a lot. When I was a teenager, I had to do this one assignment, and I actually had more than one time I had to play the male parts.
Oh.
I went to an all-girls school.
There you go.
And I remember I had to play this very emotional part once. It was a young boy.
You played a boy?
I played a boy. And
I don't believe it.
I did.
She is all woman.
Yes. Dig this.
Yeah, dig
this. It was
this.
like, I said to the instructor, I was like, you always give me the boy parts. and he was like, and he was English.
Yeah.
And I hated him for it. He looked at me and he was like, well, you're rather mannish.
What?
And I was like,
no.
Yeah, well, watch this mannish woman pop you in the nose. I was so hurt by that.
Wow.
Whenever. When I was a teenager, I had way bigger shoulders than most average women, and I actually still do. But that's not the point. I had to play this young kind of boy who was in love, and it was like an unrequited thing. And this was so stupid because
she has perfect shoulders.
Thank you. We're not talking about the shoulders, but I got a standing ovation, and I was not expecting to get a standing ovation with all these. It was like 350 people,
right?
And I wasn't expecting. This was just an assignment, you know.
Yeah.
And I went backstage and I started crying because it was too scary for me. It was so much emotion and it was like too much. Well, so I can see why these theaters are, my point is, highly emotionally charged places. On the stage, behind the stage, the stress that goes on with the producers actually funding and putting on, and is this going to work?
Right.
This was actually a high stress situation that led to Sam Warner's demise in his theater, and then the emotion of all those people in the audience. So, with that being said, let's talk about the Belasco Theater
in New York City,
in the theater district in Manhattan.
Now, this is a
theater that was built by David Belasco.
Yes, he was I guess he was a producer of plays, and he built this palace, an amazing theater, and
it's huge.
It's huge.
Huge.
Yes. So anyway, he built this theater in his apartment was above the theater.
He had this multi-room, like duplex above the theater, which is where he lived.
Right. And I guess he died a long time ago, back in the 30s, the 1930s?
I think so. In the early 20th century.
Early 20th century.
Yeah.
He passed away, I think, 20 or 30 years after he built that theater. And so the theater's still operational, but people claim to see him around the theater. There's certain areas that are hot spots. But anyway, that apartment above there was an elevator that would take him up into the apartment. And people would hear that thing like running all the time. But apparently maybe about, 10, 15 years ago?
Well, you can hear it and you can feel it because the wind, the elevator creates like a vacuum.
It creates a vacuum, yeah.
So people are like, oh boy, the elevator. And then about 15 years ago.
Yeah, I guess they went in to remove the elevator. And so they
because it was a disruption.
Yeah. And so they went to disconnect it, and they found out the elevator was already disconnected.
And it looked like it had been disconnected for
a long time.
For a long time.
Long time, yeah.
Which is just fascinating.
But people would claim that it was running, like somehow it was rumbling, And so anyway, I mean that's kind of interesting right there. But but anyway, yeah, the apartment is still. I don't think anybody's moved in there. It's like this piece of real estate that nobody uses.
Well, it looks like some things may have moved in, but I don't know.
Exactly.
And then there's also this real, in terms of also in the theater district in Manhattan, where Times Square is, and there's all this electricity and all this just verve and excitement. There's also a story pertaining to the New Victory Theater.
The New Victory Theater, and that involves a
playwright.
Playwright. I guess a lot of these plays that were on Broadway came from England.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I guess Americans don't know how to write.
So, no, well, we can write pretty well, I'll tell you. But anyway, the first major playwright in New York was a man by the name of Clyde Fitch. Is that correct?
Clyde Fitch.
Clyde Fitch. And so anyway, he was successful, I guess, in the latter part of the 1800s and early 1900s. And so he wrote this play called The City. And anyway...
That was his last...
It was his
final masterpiece.
His last play that he wrote. But it was going to come out on Broadway at the New Victory Theater. And so the story goes that he died about 3.5 months before it actually premiered in 1909. And what makes this story pretty amazing is when they premiered the show, the cast did the entire play, and then they had their curtain calls. And so the whole cast came out. And normally in curtain calls, you have like the producer of the show, the producer, the director, the writer of the show.
At the very end,
At the very end, after the stars come out. And it kind of goes in order, it goes in order of like you'll have the bit players, and then you'll have the supporting, and then you'll have the stars of the show. And then you bring out the, I believe, the director and the producer, whatever. You bring them out. But anyway...
And the conductor, things like that.
Yeah, the conductor, everybody kind of takes their bows. But during this performance, all of a sudden...
They were about to take like their final bow.
The final bow, and somebody else walked out. And in front of 1,100 people, this gentleman walked out. He took a bow. He did his little flourish with his hand, and he stepped back about a foot, one step back, and then he disappeared. And that was Clyde Fitch.
And what people say is that is like the most notable recording of a paranormal sighting by so many people all at once. And everybody saw it.
Yeah, what we mean by recording is the fact that so many people saw it and acknowledged that this happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that is pretty darn amazing. And I'll
What did I say? Record? I mean record.
no,
Sorry.
it's a record. Yeah, no, it's the same thing. Well, it's been recorded. It's been recorded, documented. I guess that's the best way of putting it.
I think that the heat advisory is proving that only English people can write.
The heat advisory is affecting us. Okay. No, I think that's pretty amazing.
I think that's fascinating.
I think I told you a story about my mom, and she was with a group of people, a group of family, and then all of a sudden this young man walked in. I've told this story before. This young man walked in, and they knew who it was, and they said, and he was supposed to be in the hospital about 50 miles away. And I'm bumping into the microphone, so I'm sorry about that. But anyway, he walked in, didn't say anything, and then all of a sudden he kind of just faded away in front of everybody. And they got a phone call maybe about a couple minutes later that he had passed. Mm-hmm. So this is
multiple people saw.
Multiple people, almost like it's a verification. It's basically saying, so nobody can doubt it,
Well, this was 1,100 people in the audience who saw it.
Yeah.
Also,
that gives me chills, by the way. That story, because I've read about that story, and then we saw it somewhere else, and we try to verify everything, just making sure.
It doesn't give. See, the thing is that this is what's strange. This would give most people chills, and yes, it's thrilling, but it makes me happy.
Yeah.
Because he got to take his bow for his final play.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, is this the kind of thing that happens every day? No, but I just don't get chills by stuff like that. It makes me feel like that's the coda that this gentleman was waiting for.
Exactly.
And end scene.
I think it's pretty amazing. And we've stated many times on this show, we try to be even keel about stuff, I would have loved to actually see that happen. Be sitting there when that happened.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
What a once in a lifetime.
Yeah. But I think this stuff happens a lot more than what we talk about. I think it's just that some people fail to record it or say that it does happen, and I think a lot of people don't want to believe this, which I don't know why you wouldn't want to believe this. It's basically saying your soul goes on, right? I think it's really a good thing. So I don't see it as an evil thing. I just see it as a guy that he wrote it this way. That's where his passion was, and he wanted to see it be successful, right? So yeah.
So also in the theater district is the New Amsterdam Theater.
What happened there?
In 1997, there was a security guard closing up, and he suddenly saw this figure of a woman in a very extravagant green beaded gown, like get up with a headdress.
Right.
She walked across the stage, and right before she got to the other side of the stage, she turned around, she looked at him, and she blew him a kiss.
Right.
And then she faded off into the wall on the other side.
Yeah, they believe that is Olive Thomas. I think she was a showgirl.
She was a Ziegfeld Follies girl.
She was.
Yes.
And what happened was she married Mary Pickford's. Mary Pickford was a very famous silent actress. Appeared in a lot of silent films. And she was actually one of the founders of United Artists, by the way.
Oh, really?
Mary
Wow.
Pickford, along with Charlie Chaplin and some other people. But anyway, she was a showgirl, and she married Mary Pickford's brother. And on, I guess, their honeymoon or wedding night, she found out that she had syphilis, and it's basically he gave it to her. So she committed suicide.
I'll have a sip.
Yeah, there you So it's a very sad story, but apparently she still is around that theater. And
That's horrid.
it really is. But anyway, they say she doesn't appear to women. She appears to men.
I know women like that.
And, well, she still likes her men. So there you go. So anyway, some of the stories, some of the stories that
Speaking
have been
of
told,
Mary
yes.
Pickford and Charlie Chaplin,
Yes.
there was a gentleman named John Hampton who loved silent movies. He just loved them. And in Los Angeles in 1942, he built a theater called the Silent Movie. Oh no, he called it the Old Time.
The old time movie
Theater.
Yeah.
It now is referred to as the silent movie theater.
I think it's kind of like subtly, subtle.
Oh boy.
Yeah, sorry.
Heat advisory.
It's a drink. Heat advisory. Anyway, no, subtle changes.
Just, yes, minute.
Minute changes to the title of the theater.
If subtle is giving you a hard time,
I'm doing fine.
You can rely on Old Faithful.
Hey, I haven't passed out yet on the old heat advisory. That's an excellent name, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Heat advisory.
Thank you.
I like that. Anyway, so no, this theater has been around for a while, and
it's nice and cold. And if you the thing is with these drinks is that they were designed. Now I know this because I understand Southern people.
Are we talking about heat advisory?
No, I'm saying if you this is to fit right in the palm of your hand.
Yeah.
It's ice cold. If you put it and cup it in your left hand, and you let your blood pulse, it will eventually. That's a pre-air conditioning thing, little trick.
Because if
the power goes out, you just put that in your left hand and it'll circulate.
And you
cold
cup it.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. So
anyway, John Hampton, and he loved silent films.
Yes.
And he opened this beautiful little Art Deco kind of jewel box.
Yes.
In L.A. and he would only show silent films.
Right.
And Mary Pickford and Charlie Chaplin, and they would go in the 40s, and they would actually go to watch themselves. Who would? I don't even want to listen back to our audio episode.
Like this one. No. This is okay.
But
so,
they did. What can you say?
This is the thing about that theater. They actually had somebody, because in the old timey movie theaters they
had a projection room.
Well, they all have projection rooms, but just to give you a little history, okay. When they ran these silent movies, basically they would have somebody there. No, really, they would have somebody there on a piano, and they would have like a score that was written for the movie, and they would basically improvise, and they would play the piano, and they would hit like certain moments, like if it was tension, they'd like hit a couple of different keys, like that. And
thank you. That was good. Was good.
Yeah, it was pretty good. But anyway, they would do that along with the music, like that. And it was basically an early form of sound movies. And so when they built this silent movie theater in Hollywood, it was hearkening back to that, because by that time, by 1930, everything was in sound. Everything was scored, and it had the dialogue and all that other wonderful stuff. But this silent movie theater was basically, that's what they did. They ran the movie, and they had somebody on a piano in the front playing the accompaniment to what people were watching. Mm-hmm. And so I think that was part of the thing, to go there, and you could actually see a silent movie the way it was presented back in the 1910s and 20s.
Okay, but what makes this so haunted?
Yes.
Is Well, number one,
I had to go into the history. I'm sorry.
I appreciate.
But I think that
Stroll down memory lane for you. Just joking.
Yeah, because I lived back then. But I'm just
No,
telling
no,
you.
no. But
Yeah.
but in the 1990s, the theater was sold to a gentleman named Lawrence Austin, and a lot of people see him in the lobby, or people coming through the lobby. They feel a very cold chill, and they're like, "What's going on here?"
Right.
And then they kind of realized that if they dug into the history a little bit, that they would find out that not only Lawrence Austin, but a concession stand girl were murdered in the lobby there in 1997. Again, 1997. And that's because Lawrence Austin's lover, James Van Sickle, paid a hitman to knock him off for the inheritance.
Yeah, that he didn't. No, he just knocked him off. Well, was it for the inheritance, or was it just to gain control of the movie theater?
No, he was the sole beneficiary of Lawrence Austin's estate, and was instantly to inherit about $1 million, the theater and everything else.
But
and he's still now, actually, as we speak, he and his accomplice serving life prisons in sentences in jail.
Yeah, no $1 million because they found out that
nothing, just jail.
Yeah, wow, that's crazy.
But people get scratched in the lobby, in the offices upstairs. Things get moved.
Right.
People feel.
I'm sorry. They believe that two people haunt the theater: the original owner of the theater.
Oh, that's true. Also,
somebody haunts the upstairs, and somebody else, and it's the other one. The one that passed away.
Lawrence Austin.
Yes.
And then John Hampton, who was the person who built the theater and lived upstairs with his family.
Right.
He eventually succumbed to lung cancer because of the fumes. He devoted so much time restoring all these beautiful old historic films. So in the end, that which he loved so much contributed to his demise.
Isn't this crazy?
It is.
With all these haunted theaters around.
It really is.
And that's a haunted movie theater. That's not even
a live,
Yeah, it's not even a live thing. It's just, but he had so much passion for it. And the person that took it over also had a passion for it.
Yeah. Very much so. Yeah. In fact, so many people who go to this theater had such a passion just for the silent movies that Lawrence Austin, or maybe a subsequent owner, tried one time to showcase a 3D movie. Like this was like in the 90s or what have you.
Right, going against the silent movie thing.
Going against the whole sort of premise of this
theater.
The existence of this little place in LA. And they were just about to start the first night, and there were the gentleman in the projection room said, "What? Well,
the projectors broke."
But one and then the next one.
Right.
With film spilling out all over the floor from both.
Yeah. Like, don't do this. It's sacrilege.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. Well.
How dare you?
Yeah.
But see, the thing is, they weren't saying that to them.
No.
Because they're silent actors.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, they were mouthing it and then ripping the film out of the...
That's what they were doing.
That's what those ghosts were doing.
That's pretty crazy, you know?
It is. It's totally crazy. You know what? There is a theater that I have been to and felt weird at, but I only went there once. So
where was that?
The Theatre Royale, Drury Lane in London.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so...
You've been all over the place, Marjorie.
I've been a lot of places, but not everywhere.
You look very, very sexy tonight.
Oh, thank you.
I'm just throwing that in.
Heat advisory.
It is. A heat advisory.
The heat
Yes, in the cups.
In the cups, indeed.
Yes.
This theater is haunted by the guy. He's a man in gray, and all the actors, at least whenever there's a play, at least one or two from the cast will say, "I saw him," and he was sitting and he was smiling. He's in like 18th century clothing, like clothing from like the 1700s. Like you'll have the tricorn hat and the capelet over the gray, and he sits there and he smiles.
Oh.
And actors like feel like they take that as like a good sign. That means that the show will be a success.
Right.
And they're always like trying to get to the bottom of this. And one time they were doing renovations at the Drury Theatre, London, Theatre Royal, excuse me. And they went into this passageway that seemed to just be walled up with brick that didn't match brick from anywhere else.
This does not sound good.
No, walled up. No. They pulled down the thing. Skeletal remains of an adult male.
Wow.
That looked like it had been there for a very long time.
So, do they believe that
people ascribe the spirit to that, but I guess he's a kinder spirit than you or I, because he's out in that audience smiling at actors.
I was enjoying the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But someone walled him up.
Wow. It's crazy.
Did you ever
stuff.
read Edgar Allan Poe's Cask of Amontillado?
I've read a lot of Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe not that one.
It basically, that's the end. The guy gets walled up.
Oh.
He gets drunk on Amontillado, not heat advisory.
Right.
And
not the famous heat
by
advisory.
his enemy, and his enemy.
Yeah.
This is for serious revenge, and the guy who does the walling, who's getting his revenge, he says "Nemo me mpune lacessit,"
which means
that is my family motto.
And what does that mean?
Stewart family. He who wrongs me shall never go unpunished.
Ooh.
I know.
Wow.
Doesn't sound like me at all.
No, it doesn't. Because you're sweet and you're beautiful. And you're sweet and beautiful.
Anyway, Cask of Amontillado. I recommend it. It's not long.
That's it. That's really interesting.
That they found this dude. The Gray Man.
The Gray Man.
Okay, now, last but definitely not least,
okay,
we're bringing you to Hollywood. Back to the States.
Tinseltown. Tinseltown. Yay! Hooray for Hollywood. Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Here,
you know the
Okay. Sorry.
Hollywood.
There you go.
The Chinese theater.
Yes. It used to be Grumman's Chinese.
It was built in 1927 by Sid Grumman.
It was Grumman's Chinese. It changed to Mann's Chinese Theater. And then now it is called what?
I have no idea. They were calling it like
ABC. No, I don't know.
DFG.
DFG?
I don't
know. It has some initials to it. Anyway, it's still there. It's just they keep changing the name like every.
I forgot.
Tomorrow will be a different name. It'll be I don't know.
I forgot the E.
They're gonna call it something else tomorrow. Come on, face it.
Who needs E?
It'll be the GE Electric Theater or something. Yeah. The GE Electric Chinese Theater. Okay. This is where we take a break. I think that heat wave is getting to you. Heat advisory. Just getting a Marjorie. We're talking about serious stuff here, and you're giggling. It's crazy.
I'm so sorry.
We can go to let's go to a different theater. Let's go to a different theater in Hollywood.
Take it away, Rosedale.
Okay. You want to go to this one? Take a ride.
Take
a ride down.
I want to go anywhere but here.
Okay, so we're talking about the Chinese theater. It was built in 1927 by Sid Grumman. And let's see. So what happened in 1970? It seems to be always in the 70s.
I know,
that stuff happens.
those 70s, so dirty.
Those darn
Dirty.
70s, yeah. 1979, what was it? Victor Killian. What happened there?
Victor Killian left a bar that was near there, and
he was an actor, wasn't he?
He was an actor,
Okay.
pretty well. Pretty well, and he met some random dude, brought him home, got beaten and killed.
Ooh.
And so, the theater was like on the way home,
Right.
and that's good.
Well, it's not good, but no. Apparently, he kind of haunts the theater. Is that the deal?
He does.
It's one of the theaters that is haunted in Hollywood.
People believe that the soul.
I think they're all haunted because I've been to the El Capitan, which is almost directly across the street.
Really?
Yeah, and that Disney owns that theater now. It used to be owned by Pacific Theaters, but they bought the theater and they'll like premiere their movies over there. And that theater is like ancient, and
Really?
it's not huge, but it's I don't know. There's a creep factor to it. There's you walk in and it feels like you go back. Mm-hmm. We have a theater right on Long Island here, which is the Patchogue Theater, and they claim that's haunted.
Yeah.
I think, honestly, I think all these theaters have.
Okay, are people just trying to get people to come to theaters because they're haunted?
No.
Because I think a lot of people don't like to go to the theater anymore. They can stream at home and.
Yeah, but I think there's still something about going to a theater. It's just that a lot of theaters, especially when they do like the stage plays, mm-hmm. right? They have like a light on stage. They put a light out there. They call it the ghost light. Right?
That you told me about that.
Yeah, and that's kind of a thing, and it's
mm-hmm.
and so I would love to talk to people about that. We should have some people on the show that have some intimate knowledge about that. But the whole purpose is to keep the light on in the movie theater, and it's basically for the ghosts that haunt it, and which, like I said, I believe is a very real thing.
Oh, you know what? Another thing I forgot about the Drury Theater.
What?
There's this famous clown. Although how a clown rises to fame is really quite beyond me.
Right.
But
but back then it was a different thing.
I don't know.
A clown was kind of a good thing, and now it's kind of like it's
clown was never a good thing. Okay.
All right. Well, yeah, but
Joseph Grimaldi.
Apologies to all the clowns out there that are listening to this show.
I'm not apologizing, clowns.
Okay.
Joseph Grimaldi. Joseph Grimaldi was a famous clown who used to perform at that theater, the Theatre Royale in London, and a lot of people have seen him,
right.
but with a disembodied white face.
Ooh.
And so I will never go back to that theater.
What about Grandma the Clown?
Oh, from Big Apple Circus?
Yeah.
Oh, I love him.
Well, it's Grandma.
Yeah, but it's this sweet little man who
Well,
look, I've met him without the makeup, so I got past it with that. That's that's hyper specific. I was able to get past the hurdle with that situation.
There was a very famous clown, Emmett. I think it was.
I like Grandma the Clown.
Emmett Kelly, I think, was the name of this beloved clown from the Ringling Brothers Circus. I mean, people still love Ronald McDonald. It's like
nope.
Yeah. I guess that's why they don't drag him out.
I used to volunteer at the Ronald McDonald House when I was a kid after school, until I was like a teenager to
Right.
just help take care of the children and things like that. And when I would walk in,
Mm-hmm.
I would purposely turn. They had
turn away?
They had a big Ronald McDonald face in the vestibule,
Right.
and I would walk in because I'm obviously there for a very important reason, and
Mm-hmm.
and I would turn my face specifically away because I wanted to be in the right frame of mind to
Right.
play with the to play with the children and entertain them and keep them happy and keep them laughing. I couldn't look at the thing on the wall.
I have a friend who has his own Bozo the Clown outfit. And he wanted to be Bozo the Clown. And his outfit actually looked right on the money. It was totally, I'd buy him as Bozo any day of the week. And I loved Bozo the Clown when I was a kid. Loved Bozo. But I know, okay, I think we're going into like this territory that we shouldn't go into. But I think what happened was like in the late 70s and early 80s, anything that was good tried to make it bad in horror films. Because that's the most horrific, probably the most horrific, is when you have something that your whole life thought of as a good thing.
As a good thing.
And then all of a sudden they turn it around and it's evil.
Well, I blame two people, John Wayne Gacy and Stephen King. Thanks, Mr. King.
Well, there you go.
But no, I didn't know about Stephen King when I was a little girl.
You just didn't like clowns.
I didn't know about John Wayne Gacy by the grace of God when I was a little girl. I just didn't. I don't like phony. I don't need things to be. I just like real.
You like real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't need things. There's enough
I
greatness in reality. There's enough tenderness and joy, and there's enough silliness. I mean, I just forgot the alphabet temporarily. I don't need a makeup, and a squeaky big red nose, like who's the clown now?
Right. I understand.
And that was very, sadly, quite real.
Yeah. There was, I don't know, in our local mall, there would be this horrible Easter outfit. And it was like an Easter bunny. You put on the phony head and the furry body, and this thing looked like something out of hell. It was like it was the best they could do. And they would like, parents would bring their kids down to like sit in the guy's lap, and then they would take pictures and the kid would be screaming
bloody murder. I
yeah.
do. I have a picture of my brother holding my niece.
Yeah.
Going to meet the Easter Bunny, and she is literally trying to literally climb away like a cat clinging to a tree for dear life. I mean, just the poor thing just traumatized. I'm like, why did you do that to her? Was that necessary? There's the bunnies. The bunnies actually live and exist in reality, and they're very sweet.
I have to say, this show has kind of devolved into.
It has devolved.
It went from theaters to the horrible Easter Bunny.
Oh, you good people! I'm sorry. I blame my heat advisory.
No, it's not the heat advisory at all. No, it's actually a really good drink.
It is a good drink.
Yeah, and but I think we covered a lot of different things. There's a lot of other theaters that are haunted. We didn't even touch on
the Rialto Theater in El Dorado, Arkansas.
Right.
This one is like custodians go take showers at the end of the night and they get attacked. First of all, custodians of the Rialto Theater in El Dorado, Arkansas. Mm-hmm. It's haunted. Everybody knows about Psycho. Everybody knows about the shower scene. What you doing taking a shower? Wait till you get home.
Get home.
Get home. Take it to the house.
Take a shower. Hose yourself off with like a garden hose or something.
It's okay. Your commute can't be that long that you have to shower at the scary, haunted, where people were murdered theater at the El Dorado Rialto Theater in Arkansas.
We actually did research on this.
I mean, the shower is where, first of all, you're naked. Okay,
that's typically the way you take a shower.
Maybe you get the soap in your eye just for one split second. It's that moment. It's that vulnerable moment. You're naked, you're blind, you're wet.
Soap in the eyes.
Unawares.
Yes.
There's a curtain, okay? And the soap is in the eye.
Soap in the eye.
That's the moment that the ghost from the Rialto Theater
That's when they show up.
They pounce.
They pounce on you. They pounce, and they lather your hair, and they scrub your buttocks, and then basically that's it. And before you know it, I don't know where I'm going with this. Where are we going with this?
We got to take it to the bridge.
I think this heat advisory is like really getting to us.
I think so too.
All right.
I'm sorry, honey.
Look, it's not like we've been drinking the salt and ice.
No, I put a ton of ice in this thing.
You did.
I think it's because we were outside all day in a heat advisory.
Right, and we came in.
And then we came inside
for more heat advisory.
For more, and
yeah,
it's heat advisory squared.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, good people.
Well, this was a great show. There's so many other theaters to talk about.
Yes, but we
scratched the surface.
I need to remember the alphabet, and you need to remember how to pronounce the word subtle, and then we can move on.
Yes.
What do you say, partner?
I think we're doing good.
I think so, too.
We haven't touched on a ton. There are theaters all around the country that are haunted. And I think if you know of a theater that's haunted, if it's in your community or whatever, let us know about it. Go to our Facebook page and, put a little comment somewhere about it. We'd love to hear it,
I would love to hear it.
Yeah, we want to hear from you. So please join our Facebook page. Go there.
Except you, Adrian, you countdown lover.
Countdown lover. He is a lover of countdowns.
But I love him.
Here's another one for you, Adrian. 3, 2, 1.
We'll see you next time.
Oh, that's it. We're wrapping?
Yeah, we're wrapping. Huh?
Oh man.
No. What's the other? What were you going to say?
I didn't know we were going there.
I had to take the reins.
I think the reins are good.
Okay, here's to you, Adrian.
Here's to you. You do the countdown and show them that you have no hard feelings. You do it.
The countdown?
Do the countdown.
You want me?
Yeah. Because
you want DFG.
I think you should.
You want DFG to do the countdown?
I think you should do whatever you want to do. Here we go.
32, 16, -4.
There you go. Ooh. There you go. Boy, that's a nice clink, I have to say. Here we go.
A banner show, folks. One for the books. Thank you for listening to us this evening, and
thank you for tolerating us.
Yes.
But everything we said was verified. It was researched. It was exactly, yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyway, we'll see you all next time.
We can't wait to come back next time.
We can't wait to get... We may even do a bonus episode. What do you think about that?
Yes.
I think we should.
I think we owe it to the folks.
We owe it to the folks because they suffered through this one.
They did. I'm so sorry.
We'll see you all next time on Back to Paranormal.
Paranormal.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody, and thank you again.
And God bless you.
God bless you.